Hi everyone, let's continue. Next theory of factors of production, that is interest. One of the very important factor of production, that is interest. So interest theory, how we can understand and what kind of theories are existing in the economy. So interest is the income obtained from that part of capital which is used for lending. It is price paid by the borrower of money to its lender. Whatever is the money a borrower is using, and against this they are paying interest. Interest is the form of incentive given by the borrower to the lender to make him part with his cash money. As per Professor Carver, this one is the, according to Professor Carver, interest is the income which goes to the owner of a capital. Next, we come to the difference between gross interest and net interest. As we understand, we have already gone through gross profit and net profit. And same way, we are going to apply gross interest and net interest. It is the amount paid by the borrower to the lender as a return on capital borrowed. So, whole of the price paid by the borrower to a lender for the use of borrowing is called gross interest. And the total amount we are paying back. Net interest means net interest is a payment for the loan of capital, where when no risk, no inconvenience, and no work is entailed on the lender. So it is earning of capital simply as the reward for the waiting. Means when you had given and whatever you are getting back without taking any risk, inconvenience, and lender here is a borrower will pay you back. That would be the reward for the waiting. That is net interest. Next, we come to the classical theory of the rate of interest. According to the classical theory of interest, rate of interest is determined by the interaction of the factors of demand of capital and supply of capital. As usual, that is the theory that entirely based on equilibrium point where is the demand and supply would intersect, and demand and supply of capital theory of interest, then saving investment theory of interest, then real theory of interest. These theories are existing in the economy. So rate of interest is a price for the use of service of capital, like the price determination of other goods and services. The price for the use of the service of capital, that is interest, is also determined by the forces of demand and supply of capital. Wherever this one is the like, it's like price when the demand and supply would interact to each other, and whatever is the equilibrium point, that would the price is finalized. Same here is here. When the demand of the capital and supply of the capital, where is the equilibrium would be settled down. That would be rate of interest. Next is, what do you understand by term demand for capital? So capital is demanded for its productivity. Capital, it is always demanded for its productivity. A businessman is ready to pay interest on the borrowed money only because the borrowed sum can be utilized with the profit somewhere else. That is why you are borrowing this money, because you know this money you can utilize to somewhere else and you can earn profit. Then we come to the marginal productivity of capital determines the demand for the capital. Then the marginal productivity of capital is the addition made to total production by employing one more unit of capital asset. Marginal, always we are talking about additional unit. Then we come to the marginal productivity of capital unit rises. Demand for capital will also greater and vice versa. And marginal productivity also diminishes as we employ or use more and more units of capital due to law of diminishing return. If we are using more and more units, as I had explained you in the factors of production. I mean, there was the one theory, law of variable proportion also, whereas the stage two would end when marginal output, marginal, this one is the MPAP and TP. When the MP is going declining, that is negative when we are using more and more units. So conclusion is this, we can say there is an inverse relationship between the rate of interest and demand for capital. So that means they are inversely proportional to each other. Then we will talk about supply of capital. So supply of capital comes from people saving. Because whenever the people have surplus amount, they are keeping in the form of the FD, they are keeping in the form of any sort of savings. So it is the portion of income of the people that is spent on not spent on consumption. So saving depends on the two things: capacity to save and willingness to save. So capacity to save means we are talking about this one is the capacity to save increases with the increase in more income of a person. It also affected by the purchasing power of money. It depends upon the size of national income, size of personal income, and size of family income. But this is the capacity to say whether your family income is more and one person only doing expenditure, the rest of the people they are saving their income. Next term is willingness to save. Whether you are willing to save, like a willingness to spend. So willingness to save, nature of the people, whether they are optimistic or pessimistic, will affect willingness to save. It is also affected by rate of interest. So there is the direct relationship between the rate of interest and supply of capital or saving. If the more rate of interest you are getting, obviously you will be attracted towards the saving side. If you are getting very less rate of interest, so you will be discouraged and you are not going to save your money. So this is basically willingness to save. Next, we come to the determination of equilibrium rate of interest. How we can decide equilibrium rate of interest? According to classical theory of interest, rate of interest is determined at a point where demand for and supply of capital are equal. As I said earlier also, in other words, equilibrium of saving and investment determines the interest rate. Like, for example, demand for capital of investment and supply of capital saving. You can see when the rate of interest is 10%, you can see demand for capital for investment is less, but supply of capital is on the higher side. As this percentage is reducing, you can see this demand for capital for investment that is increasing and this part is decreasing. So you can understand 9%, then there is 60 and 80. When it is 6% only rate of interest, people, they are demanding more capital, but supplier would like to reduce this amount because they are not interested to supply more. Then finally, we can conclude that rate of interest will be determined through equality between demand for and supply of capital. This rate of interest will be called the equilibrium rate of interest because any deviation from it will be unstable condition of market equilibrium. So I hope this demand and supply, this one is the clear to you. And then we come to the criticism of this theory. This theory has been criticized by various economists based on the assumptions of full employment, assumptions of the long run. Actually, there was the no short run provision that was the based on the long run, and they are assuming this there is the full employment situation. Changes in the interest rate do not affect saving and investment inequality. That is also one of the criticism area. Monetary factor ignored. Here is this one is an indeterminate theory, and saving is not the source of capital. It ignores the demand for capital for assumed fixed level of income. That means they are not considering this thing whether the income is increasing or decreasing, whatever is the other circumstances. Interdependence of saving and investment and unproductive purpose. That was the unproductive purposes also that they have taken into consideration. So this is all about this theory. And in the next video, I'm going to discuss about the new classical loanable fund theory. Then after that, I would discuss liquidity preference theory. So there are for the interest, this particular factor, there are total three theories. One is the classical theory. We have already finished this classical theory of rate of interest. Next, we will discuss in the next video, I'm going to discuss this theory. This theory is neoclassical loanable fund theory, and the last theory is liquidity preference theory given by Keynes. So I hope this video is this video you can understand and would be helpful to you. So thank you. Keep watching and stay tuned. Thank you.